Kenya. In studio with me is Henry Carlos Kioko, who is the executive chair of Kenya Professional Association for Licensed Private Security Services Providers of Kenya, PALSAC. Mr. Kioko, I mean, you guys couldn't come up with a shorter name?
Yeah, we wanted to include everyone in the industry, make sure that we have all the technicians, we have all the, all the security service providers, the CCTV camera technicians, the monitoring, and the investigators, fraud investigators, examiners, all those people. We wanted them to, to come on board because you see, the regulation itself captures everyone in the security industry.
Okay.
Brings them together in one basket so that, that regulation can be able to function well.
All right.
Yes.
So it's sort of like Liverpool, yeah? No man left behind, yeah?
Yes.
Oh,
yes,
you never walk alone. I don't know which one is which.
No man is left behind. Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Very, very important. And I mean, we're just starting here. You're telling me over 25 years in the security, private security sector. You've served with the police,
Yes.
So you sort of have a view of both sides when you talk about security in this country.
Oh, yes.
Briefly, how is the security status structured in the country? I know majority of us know of public security apparatus, the national police and whatnot, but the private sector, how is it structured as it stands right now?
Yes, like you said, we have the public security and we have the private security. The reason why private security actually came into existence many, many years ago is because businesses were coming up and private security in terms of strength was low. And even today it is still very low compared to the business growth and compared to the population of Kenya. Then you find that private security for many years has not been regulated in Kenya. So everyone would start their own mushrooming security firms. You would find that security guards were not trained. There was no emphasis on training and also vetting and recruitment. There was no emphasis on supervision and service delivery. It was all about competing based on cheap prices. That is what security has been in Kenya for the longest time. If I want to come and deploy my guards here at the standard group, I only need to find out how much are the current guards charging. If they were charging 30,000, I would offer 25,000 or 24,000, and I will get the job. It has never been about professionalism. It has just been about how cheaper can we go?
The lowest
bidder. Yes, yes. That is how it has been. And all through, it has affected the guards. I have served in this industry for over now 25 years, actually 24 years now. And I have seen guards who have educated their sons and daughters and their families when they are still working as security guards. And I've seen the contribution which it makes in the industry. And therefore, as more industry growth is recorded in the country, as crime also becomes more dynamic, there is need now for private security to be more professional.
Okay.
And the more professional we become, the more profitable actually it gets.
The more professional, the more profitable.
Yes.
And that's why regulation comes in very handy.
Yes.
Now we are talking about, in fact, it's the talk of town, top of the agenda. It's the reforms that are trying to be implemented in the private security world. We have the draft private security regulations 2024. As an industry player, I know you've gone through this particular document. You've gotten to interact with it. Interact with our legislators in this regard. For you, what are the arcing pain points that are maybe will will revolutionize the way we do private security in the country based on this draft regulation?
Well, I have interacted with this, and I think I was part of the people who were involved in creating, in drafting, the first draft, which went out and people made their own contributions. But the key things about the regulatory authority and the laws is, one, is that we will know who are the players in the industry. We shall be able to know who is a guard, a security officer guard, and at what level has this person been trained. It will be able, it shows what is the entry level of a security guard. What training programs are they supposed to go, and how is their progress? When do you become a supervisor? When do you climb the ladder, and what are the qualifications that you get there? Just like in the police force, where we have a constable, and then we have a corporal, and we have a sergeant. As it goes up, it means more experience, more responsibilities. Now, when we structure our private security industry at that level, then it means that we have committed, motivated officers, well conversant with what they are supposed to be doing.
Okay. So yes, creating of structure is very important.
Is very important.
And in regards to power and the space to operate.
Yes.
A while back, I think it's in Rwanda, I made an observation that private security allowed to carry a firearm.
Yes.
Here it's not the case. But in regards to how much power and freedom and length that a private security officer has over somebody, have you also introduced some changes in that?
Of course.
In this draft?
Of course, yes. There is, of course, the professionalization where, they have to go through all that. But here in Kenya, I was actually a general manager at Security Group Africa. The business of Security Group Africa, in Uganda, the guards are armed. Here in Kenya, they are not armed. Why? Because the industry there is well regulated and more training and more discipline. Here in Kenya, we are not yet at the level of arming our guards. Why? Because first of all, we don't even have a structure. We didn't have a structure of recruiting and vetting them. We do not know who is a security guard in our industry. And I'll give you an example. I was running a business where a guard would come looking for a job, but from where they are coming from, they have committed offenses. They have participated in theft where they were assigned. But when now we deploy them, we didn't know, then there was no management of record. There was no system to have, getting to know these people. We would employ a thief without knowing. Now, that is not going to happen in Kenya. Because when we have guards with what we call the guard force number, then it becomes digital. It is central. That information is keyed somewhere. Their performance and their record is also there. And there is also the annual renewal. So therefore, they are able to show what courses they have done, what if they have advanced, what assignments were they deployed. Did they work in a petroleum industry? Did they work in a mall? Did they work in a supermarket? If they worked in a supermarket, did they learn loss control skills? You see? So that way, then our industry becomes more developed.
Okay.
And the other thing is that now the business industry itself. The business industry, and even an appeal that we are making to the investors and of the private security industry and the employers, is that private security is not a cheap service. It's not a cheap service at all. So there is no need of complaining. There should be no point of complaining that how are we going to pay our guards? When we have that kind of mentality, then clearly we are saying that private security is a cheap service. You see? If it is a bank, they should know that to contract a private security guard to, at their facilities, it is 45,000 shillings. Period. After all, they secure so much wealth and property. Then now the private security employers and investors, they will be able to pay the guards at 30,000 shillings. There is no, it is not something which is supposed to be negotiable.
Okay.
No. Doctors have a package for themselves. Journalists have a package for themselves. Everyone in the industry, when it becomes professional, they have a package. Then why not the private security?
Okay.
Yes.
Looking at, because there are normally these margins. Now we're talking, I'm glad you brought up the payment issue,
Yes.
which is one of the directives that we've seen, where private security players, the consideration of the minimum wage in the sector is becoming very critical. You've said 30,000 within Nairobi. I think it's 27,000
Yes,
in
yes.
the outskirts.
Yes.
First of all, how did we come up with that figure that for security guys, 30,000 is appropriate, or 27,000?
I would ask you, how did we come up with the wage for the president, which is at 1 million something? It's the responsibilities. It is the function. It is the risks that they go through. Basically, that defines why they should be paid 30,000 shillings.
Okay.
These guys work at night. They stay away from their families. There is the risk element in this risk. I have lost so many guards in my career as a manager in this industry, and it always pains me when I remember what happened to that particular guard. And I have always gone for, attended their funerals, and I've seen their families. But when you come back and look at the businesses that they are protecting, when you look at the managers who are working in that business, and you look at the security guard, you ask yourself, why the discrepancy? Why? What is the contribution that this guard is providing? And if it's not important, then why don't you remove them and see whether you'll be able to survive?
Because the reason I asked that question is because I feel is 30,000 really enough, especially in the current economy?
I think for now, for a starting point, 30,000 will be okay. And they are very happy outside there. You know, they are very excited. Even when I was working in there, they know me. They know that this is our ambassador. And they're asking me, are you going to discuss that?
Yeah.
I think that is a good starting point for now, looking even at the economy.
What what have guards been getting on average over the many years you've been in this industry?
Guards have been, when I joined the first, many years ago, the private security industry, guards were paid 12,000, between 12,000 and 14,000. And it has stagnated there for the longest period. And even many of them right now earn between 14 and 18,000. Yes, that's the match that they
So
get.
this is a good move for them. Definitely.
Oh, that is a good move. It's a good move. The houses rent have gone up all the time. Most of the guards actually don't even use public transport to go to work. They foot, they tarmac. You know, and most of them live in informal places, like in Mathare, coming to work at Standard Group Media. They walk they walk in the morning and they walk back home in the evening.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
So these are people who we should be very mindful, like the way Mr. Adaba puts it, the welfare organizations for which advocates for the welfare of the security guards.
Yes.
Is one Mr. Adaba who has been key on that.
Okay.
And for many years, Mr. Adaba has come to my office discussing about this thing. And I think it is time that the industry should adjust, and they should stop resisting the government. They should stop going to court. They should stop trying moves to delay the decision.
Yes.
And come together, because the solutions are there.
Definitely.
Yes, and that's why actually we came up, we created a professional association of licensed private security services providers. And remember, please note the word licensed, because we want everyone to be licensed.
Exactly.
We want everyone in the private security industry to be licensed for them to become our members.
And that's why you have a regulator First of all, they've given a week for compliance for the industry players to comply to this.
Yes.
1 week, is it enough from the tone of the industry? Are they good with this particular move?
I think it has been a long fight. This is not something we started just the other day or this year. This is something which has been moving up and back and forth. In court, it's thrown out. In parliament, it's thrown out. And status quo remains. It has just been like that. So I think the Director General for Private Security Regulatory Authority is justifiable to do that. So it is the industry now to come together and look out and look for ways how they are going to be able to execute. And because the solutions are there. It's only that many of them have had a negative attitude that it's not possible. Because when it's not possible, it's not going to be possible.
No.
But if we come together and we are determined that it is possible, we need to educate the business community that security is not cheap. Security is now integrated. Every building in Kenya must have a CCTV camera. That is the association which is supposed to be driving that. And, working together with the governments. And then we shall be able now to change the perception. But if the industry itself is divided, there are those who believe, no, there are investors, owners of the business who have come together and saying, oh, no, we are not going to do this is not possible. They already have a negative attitude. But the younger professionals now who are coming up, they are positive about it. And they're saying it is possible. We only need to sit down and look at our economy and come up to an agreement. Because it is possible. It is happening in the US, it happens in Uganda, it is going on, in Rwanda it's happening, it is happening all over. Definitely. And what they need to understand is that the more professional we become, the more profitable this business will be.
Definitely.
Yes.
In fact, we're in a country where everyone is looking for a job.
Yes.
And not only just a job, but a well-paying job that will sustain them. In regards to the reforms that are being brought in this particular sector, what do you think are the benefits that are accrued in regards to job creation?
Yes, it would. It would actually create a lot of jobs. Why? In Kenya, it's only in Kenya where we will see a public police officer now, a national police officer, holding a gun, guarding a bank, or escorting money, or guarding offices. Yeah? When you go to the US or you go to the UK, that is the work of the private security, because the industry is professional. These guys have been trained. They have adhered to so many regulations and policies about weapon handling, storage, responsibilities, Yes. Guards have responsibilities. They know you're being given a weapon, just like in the police. They know if you misuse that weapon, then you're going to be held responsible. Okay. I saw that happen in Uganda. I have worked in Uganda and I know it. It happens. And there's a lot of discipline in Uganda. The national police officers, their responsibility is the general public, is to make sure that the general safety, they are the ones tackling robbers, they are running up and down,
yes.
And even now, most of these cases we hear about corruption and all that, it's because probably there are no officers to investigate. Definitely. Because most of them have been deployed in things which are not, they are doing responsibilities which are not important to them.
Exactly.
Now, those jobs will be taken up by private security officers. And many of them will be educated, diploma holders, degree holders. They're the guys who are going to start doing those jobs. Right. So it will create jobs. It is important that the industry knows that it is important that we support the regulatory authority, because it's going to create the industry. And that's why we say that what we want is to redefine the future. Yes. We support the government 100%, and we are calling upon all the members, the players in the industry, to come and join hands with us.
Definitely.
Yes.
Very, very important. Could it have been worded better? Thank you very much, sir, for making time. Henry Carlos Kioko is the Executive Chair of Kenya Professional Association for Licensed Private Security Services Providers of Kenya, PALSAC. And he says that it's high time we transform this industry. For the longest time, the status quo has been maintained, but it's time to change the way our security guards private security as a whole in general function in this country. That's why these regulations are very critical. And at least now we have an in-look and understanding of how it operates and what these changes are. That's where we put a full stop on Business Today. Thank you very much for joining with us for the hour. I'm Nokip Kimboy. Up next, you have Mbuyo KTN. Stay tuned.